An electric debut, another one coming soon, and dodging bullets. The 2025 Red Sox, ladies and gentlemen. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin, and thank you very much for clicking on this video. We got a lot to go over in this one. A whole bunch of news from the Red Sox over the last 24 hours, but I have to start here because if you missed it, the Red Sox called up Connelly Early to make his Major League debut last night. He was a top 10 prospect in the Red Sox system, and it may have been one of the best debuts we have seen in a very long time because this dude went out there and he tossed 5 scoreless innings, a 5-hit ball, where he walked only 1 batter and struck out 11. Yes, 11 batters. Early faced 21 guys last night. He struck out 52% of them. That's not only incredibly impressive, it's also historical because those 11 strikeouts match the most in a debut of a Red Sox player in Red Sox history. This guy made history last night. That's incredibly impressive. In fact, he is just the 3rd player ever in Major League history to have 0 earned runs, less or 1 walk, and 10 plus strikeouts in their debut. Like, how do you sit there and say that wasn't impressive, right? That was one of the better debuts I've ever seen in my entire life. It is incredibly impressive that the Red Sox right now have built up this pipeline for themselves, where they just keep bringing up these electric players that have legitimate impacts right away on their big league team, right? I mean, you had Peyton Tolley, you had Roman Anthony, you had Marcel Meyer, you had Christian Campbell, you even have guys like Nick Sogard and other sort of smaller names here that just simply come up and legitimately impact your ball club. What the Red Sox have done with their pipeline, both position player and now pitching wise, is incredibly impressive. And what I will say about this debut is while Peyton Tolley's was more hyped up, right? Everyone was excited about it. It was against a really good pitcher. Connelly Early's looked more polished, didn't it? He looked like a legitimate Major League guy. He looked like he had been there for 10 plus years. I mean, he kind of matched Garrett Crochet, right? If he had been allowed to go longer into these games, I think he probably maybe would have outpitched Garrett Crochet, and that's saying something, right? And I get it. It's one game against a pretty bad team, a team that does hit a lot of home runs, but a team that does strike out quite a bit, right? The Athletics are in the position they're in for a reason. On top of that, it's one game. Right, I'm not going to go and declare this guy to be a stud. I'm not going to go and declare the fact that this is the new face of the Red Sox pitching staff. Nothing like that. And I think we need to see more out of him, but you should be excited to see more out of him, right? I mean, this was absolutely fantastic. So shout out Connelly Early in this one, but it's not the only debut we're going to be getting in a Red Sox uniform soon because the Red Sox made yet another high impact roster move after last night's game. And that, my dear friends, is, of course, the call-up of Kyle Harrison, which it feels like we've been waiting on for weeks now, right? I mean, how many times over the last 2 weeks have we said the name Kyle Harrison regarding the Major League roster? It has to be upwards of 60, 70 times, right? But he's finally coming up to the Major League level, and this one's going to be kind of interesting because on the surface, it's, he's had a bit of a weird path in minor league baseball for the Red Sox. It is a 3.75 ERA, which isn't too bad, but a 4.49 FIP, which is much higher, obviously, than his ERA. The reason his FIP is so much higher is because he currently has the highest walk rate of his career down in 12 starts in AAA. That walk rate is currently sitting at 4.83. This is obviously the biggest concern for Harrison, I think, by far and away. He put himself in a lot of tough situation because of this walk rate, and it's tough because even in his last 9 starts where he's pitched really well to the tune of a 2.41 ERA and a 3.22 FIP, he's still walking over 13% of the batters he's facing. Still, he figured out a way to strand runners on the base pass, and one thing to pay attention to too is if you look at those overall numbers, you may say, well, wait a second, this guy's going to end up walking 4 or 5 batters a game? We can't have that, right? But at the same time too, it is 22 walks in those last 9 starts, but 10 of those walks came in 2 games. So outside of those 2 games, his 11 walks in 7 games. Now that's a lot better surface-wise than 22 walks in 9 games, right? So it is coming in bunches a little bit for Kyle Harrison. He's also been working on retooling his entire off-speed arsenal down in AAA. So I'm assuming, and it's not really an assumption, it's just a statistical fact, that more than likely this has a lot to do with why he has this super high walk rate, right? He's throwing pitches in different ways at different times times than he's ever done in his entire career. There's going to be some learning curve with that, and there are going to still be moments where it just simply doesn't look like they're working out. Now, this could be interesting at the major league level, obviously, because, well, I mean, think about it, right? If he's going to be really good for 3 outings, then 1 outing he's going to let up a ton of walks, that could be a bit of an issue for the Boston Red Sox, but still, clearly the Red Sox feel as though he's capable enough at this point in his development to be able to come up and make some impact on the big league club, and it's something, after you trade Rafael Devers for, we've been waiting for a little bit. Now, the bigger question here is actually what kind of role he's going to have on the major league club, because I don't really know about this one. Now, to talk about where Kyle Harrison's going to end up fitting sort of in this puzzle piece that is the Red Sox pitching staff right now, we actually need to talk about a couple of different things first. The first one we need to talk about is who's going down in order to fit Kyle Harrison on the roster. Now, in order to do that, they ended up optioning Chris Murphy. Now, I actually did kind of call this one, and it's not because Chris Murphy shouldn't be on the major league team, right? He's definitely a major league pitcher for sure. The problem is the Red Sox have a ton of lefties right now. If they were to have called up Kyle Harrison and sent down a right-handed pitcher, that would have made only 5 righties on this entire pitching staff and only 3 in the Red Sox bullpen, which is the exact opposite thing that you can do right now. Garrett Whitlock is one of your highest leverage pitchers, right? You need to have Greg Weissert set up. You need to have Justin Slayton figure himself out, which he looked pretty good last night, by the way. Those are 3 guys that are extremely important to this Red Sox team. If you were to have options, say Zach Kelly, you would have had to use those guys way more often than you would have wanted. And coming into a postseason where your best right-handed reliever isn't feeling super well because you drove him into the ground, or your setup guy to get to this high leverage man isn't feeling well because you drove him into the ground, would just be simply bad baseball practice, right? Which is unfortunate for Chris Murphy, but makes sense for the Boston Red Sox. The second thing that we need to bring up when we're talking about where Kyle Harrison's going to fit on this roster is the fact that yesterday on WEEI, Alex Cora actually announced that for the first time in his career, Peyton Tolley is going to be making a start with just 4 days rest. Now, we've talked about this 1,000 times as well. Peyton Tolley, up until this point in the season, has been going off of 5 days rest, right? Once every 6th day, he's making a start. Now the Red Sox are shortening that a little bit. And the reason we bring this up is because of 2 things. 1, Kyle Harrison's coming up to fill a Chris Murphy-like role. 2, he's going to be coming up not as a starter initially, but most likely as a bulk inning reliever. The Red Sox probably today, when Peyton Tolley makes his start, are only going to use him for 3, 4, maybe potentially 5 innings, and then go to Kyle Harrison for probably what's going to be 2 or 3, potentially 4 if everything doesn't go well for Peyton Tolley after 4 days rest, right? So all of a sudden he goes from, okay, this is a guy who's going to end up being a spot starter, to this is a guy who's going to end up being a bit of a hybrid pitcher. More than likely, we're going to see him piggyback off of either Peyton Tolley or Connelly Early going down the stretch here, and we're probably going to see him make some sort of hybrid spot start / opener type games as the Red Sox try and figure out how to use these guys when they aren't used to 5 days rest. All of a sudden his situation changes a little bit, and to be honest with you, I don't know how much better he's going to be in that role than Chris Murphy probably could have been, right? Because Chris Murphy was a really solid pitcher at the major league level. I mean, it was a 2.81 ERA with a crazy high 5.25 FIP, mostly due again to his own walk problems this year, but it was a 150 ERA plus. His ERA was 50% better than your average major league pitcher. I don't know how much better Kyle Harrison's going to be in that role. To me, it does sort of feel like a move just simply to make a move. Now, I don't know if Chris Murphy is dealing with something at the major league level, right? He's trying to pitch through something, and the Red Sox are sitting there saying, you know what, maybe we'll save his bullets until later down the road. I don't know if it has something to do with the fact that, hey, Connelly Early can't get onto a postseason roster, so maybe we use him to the end of the year, and then we bring up Chris Murphy for the playoffs, right? And we want to keep him fresh. I don't know if it's they just simply don't trust him in that sort of hybrid opener / piggyback role. I don't know what it is, but it's very interesting to me that the Red Sox decided to option Chris Murphy specifically for Kyle Harrison, because it feels like they're very similar caliber of pitchers right now, just simply based on their statistics. I think Kyle Harrison has a higher ceiling, but we're talking about not really reaching a ceiling right now. We're talking about how are they going to impact these games, because every single game is going to matter. The last sort of bit of news I wanted to cover in this video was an injury scare that the Red Sox had yesterday. Luckily, it doesn't look like it's going to be anything super major. If you missed the game last night, which I don't blame you, it was super late, and that sucks. I hate those West Coast road trips, but after hitting a home run and a double in the first 2 innings, the Red Sox had to take Romy Gonzalez out of the game. They ended up walking to the clubhouse in the middle of the inning, and it kind of looked like he was limping a little bit, which is absolutely terrifying. Now, the good news is that it shouldn't be anything super major. We probably won't miss him him for a very long period of time. After the game, Romy Gonzalez spoke with the media, and he said that it really wasn't anything super crazy, and his knee kind of just locked up on him a bit, and that worst case scenario right now is that he's day to day, right? Best case scenario is that he's probably just going to get today off. He'll obviously have Thursday off, and he'll be good for the New York Yankees series. And to be honest with you, I couldn't believe I was saying it, but I was absolutely terrified about the idea of Romy Gonzalez going down, because this dude has been on a heater of a hit streak recently. In his last 12 games, he has a hit in every single one of them, and he's hitting .455 with a .444 on base percentage and a .545 slug for a .990 OPS, 9 RBIs in that time span as well. He is genuinely the Red Sox hottest hitter, and without Roman and Willie Abreu, who's going to be coming back, by the way, at the beginning of the series after the Yankees series, right off the top of my head, I can't remember who that's going to be, but he's coming back pretty soon. However, you don't have him now, which means the Red Sox need every single ounce of offensive prowess that they can get, and Romy Gonzalez has been an absolutely major part of that, and genuinely, I can't believe I say that. To be honest with you, I keep thinking to myself, is this one of the better DFA pickups in baseball over these last few years, right? I mean, the White Sox gave this guy up for free, and Romy's been nothing but pretty much consistent, especially against left-handed pitching so far this year for the Red Sox. I can't remember the last time a guy was picked up on a DFA like this and was this impactful the way Romy is. So thank God it's just a minor sort of, hey, I just tweaked it a little bit, I'll be fine with some rest type thing, and not something that ends up putting him on the IL. I will say I am going to keep my breath sort of held for a little bit here, because we heard the same thing about Willie Abreu. Overall, though, I know this was a really all over the place video, right? There was a ton of news that we went over in this one, so I hope this video isn't too long for you guys, but at the end of the day, Connelly Early, incredibly impressive, genuinely one of the better debuts I think I've ever seen, makes me incredibly excited to see what he can end up doing down the stretch here. Is he going to be a guy that continues to do this? Are we going to see him go through his bumps and bruises a little bit? I have a feeling it'll be the second one, but I'm very excited to figure out which one it is, and I am genuinely excited to see Kyle Harrison on the big league club, mostly because the Red Sox traded Rafael Devers for this guy, right? Jordan Hicks was the other package. He ended up on the IL. He's been terrible. Dustin May ended up turning into your other pitcher that you got in this deal, and he's been absolutely terrible and also on the IL, right? So it's kind of like, hey, you got Rafael Devers for essentially just Kyle Harrison right now. Maybe the Red Sox do something with Jordan Hicks this offseason, but it's not looking like a very good trade, right? So it'll be interesting to see what Kyle Harrison can do. And again, I was surprised to find myself really holding my breath for this Romy Gonzalez injury, and I didn't think I'd ever say that coming into this season. So it's just an ode to simply how good Romy Gonzalez has been so far this season for the Red Sox. But regardless, let me know what your thoughts are. What do you think about all this news? What do you think about Connelly Early's start? What do you think about Kyle Harrison coming up and the role he's going to play specifically? And what do you think about the Romy Gonzalez injury? Let me know all your thoughts. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. It just simply helps out a ton, and it's the best way to let me know you're enjoying the content. If you want to listen instead of watch, head over to your favorite podcasting app, look up Red Seat Radio. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the Red Seats.